Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1:01 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday. We made it to the end of the week, guys. January 14th, 2022. What's going on, everybody? It is starting to get a little bit colder here in Chicago. Hopefully, you guys are staying warm. Everyone listening on the podcast, hope you're having a good run out there today. Hopefully, it's not too windy where you are. I had a lot of wind today. I definitely had to move my workout around a little bit so that way I could have all my work sessions or work portions and the tailwind and all like the warm up and cool down and all that stuff was in the headwind. So I had to move things around a little bit. Again, I'm unabashed about reconfiguring my workout so I could have as much tailwind as possible. Definitely did that today, but nevertheless, I was still a little bit cold. Hopefully that you're not having any problems with headwind where you are if you're listening to this on the run. And everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, welcome to you guys too. Glad you made it over to the new channel where the live streams are going to be. And hopefully you're sitting back with a nice recovery beverage and relaxing on your weekend, or maybe watching this before your run on Saturday, whatever the case may be. Welcome to you guys too. And welcome to everyone who is watching live. Thanks everybody for making it over. It's been a full week now on the new channel, and I think we're starting to get most of the people back. So I think that's good. Let's see who we got in the chat. We got Brendan Cam coming in saying, "Yo, what's going on, Brendan?" And Randon Lewis says, "Hi everyone. What's better, Nimbus Lite or the 24?" For me, it's the Nimbus Lite. Right. So I like that one a lot better. The Nimbus 24. I think that there's something going on between like what's going on with the Trustic system and the gel. There's a little bit of that gel underneath the forefoot is like kind of poking me a little bit. So I feel that I could run in it great up till about like 7 or 8 miles. Then that starts to bother me. So I'm hoping that like with further running, I mean, I've already got 30 miles in the shoe, but I'm hoping that maybe with a little bit more time, that'll go away and I'll just have a nice shoe. But right now it's limited in how I can use it. The Nimbus Lite 3, I don't have that problem at all. And basically the way I think of it is if someone likes a little bit more structure to their shoes, go with the Nimbus Lite 24. If you don't need that and you feel like something that's a little bit more neutral, then go with the Nimbus Lite 3. That's how I'd kind of decide those two. All right. JC says, "Hey, everybody." Vincent says, "Hey, guys." Stephanie says, "Hey, TGIF indeed." Do you guys remember that? TGIF, it was on ABC. If you were pretty much a loner like I was as an adolescent, well, for me, it was in adolescence, like preteen and teenage years. TGIF was like a 2-hour block of shows on Friday night. I mean, I watched Full House. I mean, it was like Perfect Strangers, Full House. Then there was Step by Step. And there was a fourth show, I think. I can't remember which one it was. But like, I think TGIF existed, and that was on ABC, but that existed before Must See TV on Thursday. Remember that? Do you guys remember that? Anyone? Every time someone says TGIF, that's what I think about. I think about Carl Winslow, who then became a part of a spin-off show, Family Matters, with Urkel. You guys remember Urkel? But Carl Winslow was originally a character. He was a security guard in the Chicago Tribune Tower for the show Perfect Strangers with Larry Appleton and Balky Bartakamus. Yeah. So those shows bring me back every time I see them. I'm going to scroll down and see if anyone else remembers it. Yeah, Stephanie says Family Matters too. Yeah, that was such a good show with the Winslows. That was that I really enjoyed that show. All right. Stevie76 says, "Oh wow, wait, look at this." Fantabulous Dopke said, "Did a 4 a.m. long run today because he's got the booster at 9." I mean, that's the way to get it in, but that's real dedication. I might have maybe. I mean, if you had the booster at 9, if the schedule allowed, I maybe like right away would have gone for a long run. 4 a.m. long runs are tough. That's definitely tough. I'm impressed. CR says, "Here comes the weekend." Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to it. Although it's been like a weird week, so it feels like it's been a short week for me because my kids were out of school the first couple days. So everything's been off as usual, as things have been for the last 2 years. Mark Ingham's here, says, "Yo, what's going on?" And I am half Pedro is back and says, "Good Friday, folks." Awesome. Adam says he had 60-ish degrees yesterday and now snow's on its way. Welcome to Denver. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. All right. Stevie76 says, I'm placing bets on Dr. Josh making the OTQ of 218 in Houston. Any takers? That's a good bet. What is his current PB, though? I'm trying to think. What does he run? Where's he at? I come to think of it, I don't know offhand what his PB is. I know he's a really fast runner, keeps it spicy, but I actually don't know what his full marathon time is. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to be trying to find a way to watch the Houston Marathon on TV this week which I normally don't. But well, this year I'm going to see it, see if maybe I can see Dr. Josh on TV. That'd be fun. But also both Dakota Lindworm and Annie Frisbee, Minnesota Distance Elite teammates and recent Puma signed athletes, I think they're both running the half. So that'll be interesting to see as well. The only other time that I think I've watched TV coverage of the Houston Marathon or half marathon was the time Ben Barrows ran the half marathon, and he ended up running with the elite women. And he got a bunch of TV time because he's tall and he was literally head and shoulders above all the other women. That was really funny. Do you guys remember that? All right. Adam Fierce wants to know Nimbus Light or Magic Speed. They're two different shoes. But if I'm going to pick one of those two, I would pick the Nimbus Light. The Magic Speed, I feel is a semi-plated Evo Ride. The foam is a bit firm and you're I don't understand this shoe. But then you run fast in it and then it just rolls with you. And even though it's firm, it doesn't feel firm when you're moving faster. So it's kind of like a counterintuitive shoe in a lot of ways. And it works, but still overall the sensation is a bit of a firmness. It's effective, but not always the most comfortable. The Nimbus Light, I'm very excited about the Nimbus Light. I can run in that shoe all the time, I think. Strokes 8 says, finally got a workout in after a few weeks of icy sidewalks in the Chicago suburbs. North Band Trail, all iced up still. Don't mind the cold, but the ice is still tough to deal with. Oh, is it still icy? I'm going to go up there tomorrow with my running buddy. So I'll let you guys, I think maybe I'll head out in the Peregrine tomorrow if it's going to be icy out there, because we're just going to go out for an easy run. He lives up by the North Branch Trail, so that's kind of where I think we'll be on the. I think we start out on the spur or extension, and then we get to the North Branch Trail. So, yeah, wish us luck, I guess. But thanks for the heads up. All right, JC says on TJF, hanging with Mr. Cooper. That was a good show too. Do you remember that? Oh man, that was a good one. Stevie76 says, when I was watching TGIF, I was an elite preteen loner. I was very elite at being a loner. I watched a lot of television. Yeah, not a very full social calendar back then. Yeah. Frank says that Carl Winslow was also a police officer at Nakatomi Plaza. Yeah, that was his thing. He was typecast for a while where all he did was play cops. Right. But he had the cop look. He looked like a cop. Right. So, I felt that was very amazing. I don't think he was the same character from Nakatomi in Die Hard. He wasn't the same character in Die Hard as he was in Perfect Strangers, but he was the same character in Perfect Strangers as in Family Matters. And that was officially recognized as a spinoff too. Because remember, I think it was Harriet. Harriet was the elevator operator in Perfect Strangers in the Tribune Tower, and Larry worked in the basement. He was a reporter for the Tribune, right? And Harriet was the sassy lady in the elevator. Which there are still some buildings in Chicago that do have elevator operators. Usually it's the freight elevators. It's more of a security reason than it is for practical reasons, but yeah, that still does exist. But yeah, If I'm remembering my characters correctly. That's what I think is going on. Chris Dyke says, it's times like this I wish I had YouTube Premium to lock the screen and put away the phone. Also, typing and jogging is not easy. Well, I appreciate the effort there. That's a lot. But I would agree with you that sometimes like I will want to like turn on a YouTube video and I'm okay with just listening to it, even though, it's a video and a visual platform. Sometimes I'm like, I could just listen to this. Cause like especially if like other people are reviewing shoes, you know, I always try to not watch other people's reviews before I do a review, or if it's a shoe that I think I'm going to review. But if it's a shoe I know I'm not going to look at, like certain like trail shoes, for example, or if it's something of a shoe that I've already reviewed and I want to listen to what the person said about it, then sometimes like when I'm walking, to go pick up the kids or stuff, I would really enjoy being able to do that. But if you turn the screen off, YouTube turns off too. It doesn't just keep playing. It's not like a podcast or music. But yeah, if you have YouTube Premium, maybe I should get YouTube Premium. I don't know. Vincent says was Balky Greek though? I thought he was just like just kind of like mysterious or vaguely like Eastern European or something. I don't remember if he was Greek or not. But Vincent said Balky was this Greek kids hope to be on TV. Yeah, I can understand that though. Cuz there wasn't a lot of representation of people back in like the 80s and early 90s. Andrew said, "Do I sign up for the Club Paris 2024 website? If so, how many points are you at?" I haven't. I'm gonna write that down because I forgot to write that down the other day. I got my phone out here. I have a running note of things that I need to remember to do from the things that you guys remind me of. I was gonna, and speaking of that, like that's through, it's through Garmin, right? And I was about to buy a Garmin watch the other day. So I'm like, it's been a while since I bought a Garmin. And after I got lost a bunch of times over the holidays when I was at my sister's house, I was like, all right, I'm going to get the 945. I'm just going to get the 945. I need the maps. I want topo maps. I want to be able to see where I am on the map, not just a breadcrumb trail map. I was going to get it. And then I was like, oh, it's CES. Garmin's announcing watches, the venue, and some other watch. I don't remember what it is. And then people were like, oh, the Phoenix 7 is probably going to come out soon too. So I've been waiting on the Phoenix 7 because I was like, I don't want to spend like $600 on a watch and then be like, oh, they should have just spent a little bit more and then gotten the Phoenix 7 and that's new and people will be more interested in that. So I'm waiting for the Phoenix 7 to release before I review another Garmin. But I have a feeling I'm just going to end up waiting a long time. I don't know. All right. Martha says, hi, more good news. The tendonitis resolved 90% overnight. So I should be back to running sooner than expected. Well, that's great news. That's fantastic to hear. Awesome. David Warboys, talk about dedication, says, I run at 3 a.m. before work. Oh, yeah. That's very early. That's very early. Frank says, wasn't Balky Bartakamus just poor man's Latka? What's Latka? I'm not getting the reference there. And Runner J says, hey all, work on an assignment while listening. Yay, Friday. All right. Yeah. Good luck on the assignment, Runner J. All right. One of the things I want to talk about today. Oh, wait. Stephanie says that Nell Rojas and Sarah Hall are running the half too in Houston. Wait, so Nell Rojas, Sarah Hall, Annie Frisbee, and Dakota Lindrum are running the same half marathon? Holy crap. I mean, I guess it's kind of a tune-up race for all of them because I don't think Annie Frisbee is, but all the rest of them are running Boston. So, but yeah, whoa, that's amazing. Yeah, if there isn't like big, I think Houston does a good job. If my understanding is that's usually live streamed on like the local like NBC affiliate like website. So hopefully we can tune in that way. Cody Davis says, I don't know if you saw or not, but Brittany Charbonneau won every race of the Dopey Challenge. First person, female or male, to win every race of the challenge. I saw that she was interviewed on Allie on the Run show. I haven't had a chance to listen to that one yet. What I do, but I am very excited to listen to that one. Basically, all of my community on TikTok was like at the Dopey Challenge. So like I've been seeing nothing but Dopey Challenge videos on TikTok for like the last several days. So I'm excited to see that, to listen to that podcast. But what I listened to today, that was like, and that's what the prompt is for today's live stream, was I was thinking of listening to, which podcast was that? I know the logo. It's like the big T. And what is it? Yeah, it was the Running Pod. Sorry, it's going by Traxta. That's what the T is. The Running Pod by Traxta. They were talking about like what they think track and field needs to become like more popular, to become a bigger sport, to get more just people interested in running. And it's similar to some of the stuff that we talked about. Was it yesterday? The other day? Sometime this week. And they were talking about like the two things that they kind of talked about were it needs beer and gambling. Like those are the two, like sports betting. Like you could bet on who comes in first, maybe a trifecta, bet on like the first three. I don't know the names of any other horse racing bets, but they're like talking about all those kinds of things, and then also like just making sure that there's like beer and concessions and stuff. But like I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of sports betting. I don't sports bet, probably because I don't really watch sports. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like, I just feel like it, for a sport that's already having a hard time just like managing doping. Like, I just feel like introducing gambling to the sport is just like, I don't know. I'm not sure that's a great idea. I don't know. All right. While you guys are thinking about that, Stephanie says she's going to DM me the list of Elites Racing. There's quite a few this year. All right. I'm very excited for that. I do want to see that. Yeah. All right. Oh, JC says Alaka is from Taxi, Andy Kaufman's character. Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever really seen that show. It's a little bit before me, so I'm afraid I've just missed that one. So I won't get any of the references. All right. All right. Let's scroll down a little bit further. Mark says, yeah, money and gambling changes things, but like you said, it could lift it up as well. Viewership of most sports can often be correlated to betting. I think it's so strange to see like the commercials right now. Like I don't really watch football anymore. Football was like the last pro sport. It was like I used to watch a lot of basketball and baseball, and then I kind of like stopped watching basketball, and I was every once in a while watching baseball, and then sometimes football, and then football was the one because I was like, yeah, it's once a week. It's a smaller commitment. But even then, I stopped kind of watching football too. But it's strange to me now when I do watch any of those sports that like half the commercials are about sports betting, and I'm like, this is so weird. Just because like one of my major memories, like watching baseball growing up, it was like everyone talking about Pete Rose. So like it just seems really strange to me still. I don't think I'll ever really get used to it. And Frank says like, also, who wants mobsters scoping out high school track teams? Like that's the thing. Like I feel like then social media posts become very different because then it's like, well, now that's inside information. Someone's got a niggle. Or like if someone's putting like, an Instagram reel together of like repeat 400s on the track, and like it's not just people watching it to see like, a good workout. People are like, oh, well, I don't know. He didn't look quite as sharp as I think he should. So I think it does change things, but it is an interesting idea if viewership of sports changes with betting. I don't know. I feel like I would feel more comfortable betting on a human running around a track than a horse run or a dog running around the track, I would say. Because I feel like at least the human has more will, or control over that situation. than the dog or a horse does. So I guess I don't think it's that bad of an idea. I mean, does it exist in some place? I mean, it's got to exist somewhere, right? I don't know. Mark says like betting running races like horses would be wild. I throw a few bucks here or there. I think I probably would too. But here's like my main question: like, have you guys ever been to a horse track? We used to go to there was a horse track I don't know if there still is, but in college we used to go on Fridays. I think it was a Friday. There was like a summer where we all went to the horse track like for the entire summer, like every Friday, because it was like cheap wings and Bud Lights for like a couple hours, and so we would go do that. And then I had no idea how to bet, so I just like randomly pick a couple bucks on a horse or something like that. And some of my buddies got really into it, and they were like, "Well, you got to do is you got to do the box and then the something." And I'm like, "I don't think you're speaking English." And they were like, "Well, just look at this program." And there's like just sheets of numbers, and I'm like, "I don't understand what any of these numbers means." But what I do think would be interesting is like, you know, for horse racing, they have the horses like march out. So you get a chance to like look at the horse and also the jockey to see like what colors they're wearing or whatever. I don't know. It's like there's like a little mini parade before the horse race. I mean, I guess like you kind of have that already with running when people are doing their warm-ups, maybe they're doing some strides, they're kind of already doing that. But like there's time in between the little parade and then the start of the race for people to like they get their look and then they run and go bet. I don't know. I just think that'd be really strange. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I guess more people would watch, but yeah, I don't know. That's strange. It's a strange idea to me. Yeah, Sean Moore says, I haven't thought about this much, but in a world where countless jobs have been lost, I think it's good. But humans being humans, we're going to have so much corruption, lol. Yeah, Brendan says, like, definitely feel like could increase viewership and engagement for the sport if betting was increased. People love that thrill. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it would certainly make like the Boston Marathon, like elite field announcement even more exciting, right? Like that would be amazing because then you're like the odds would change. It's kind of like, if you were to like say bet on the Bears on like day one of preseason in Vegas to win the Super Bowl, that's like, the odds are very different on day one than it is like, 6 games into the season. So that kind of thing. I think what would be great. I mean, if I would accept, here's the trade that I would make. I would definitely take the trade of allowing just like horse racing style betting on track meets. If we also get like Super Bowl, like prop bets, like in a 10,000 meter race, is someone going to fall? Like, not that I'd be rooting for someone to fall, but like, like weird bets, like, or will anyone lose a shoe? Is someone going to get lapped? I don't know. Those all seem kind of like the falling and the lapping one seem kind of mean, but there's got to be some sort of like prop bet. The way to make it just like also like just entertaining. Kind of like in the way of like, how long will the singer hold a note in this, in singing the national anthem? Is the coin toss going to be heads or tails? That kind of thing. There's got to be some ways to make it a little bit more have some. Those are the kinds of bets that I like. Like the idea of betting, like, is Sarah Hall gonna beat Nell Rojas in the Boston Marathon this year? Like that kind of thing. Like I don't know if I want to make that kind of bet. I love thinking about the rankings, but I don't know. I think it just is I don't know. I guess I'm not that against it. But. All right, Melvin Eubank. I love this. Balki wasn't Greek. That's what I thought. He's from the fictional island of Mypos. I don't know what background he was trying to portray in Beverly Hills Cop, though. And Laka was Andy Kaufman's character in Taxi. Yeah. Like I remember what show was it where like there was like a weird marriage. I think I may be conflating it with another TGIF show, but there was a weird ceremony where like you walk around the table a couple times with like a piece of cloth while you're holding hands with someone, and all of a sudden you're married. Yeah, I don't know. That was a really weird like trope. You would see that we used to see that a lot in like the 90s, involving like Americans and foreigners. This is also the same time where there was like the WWF or the WWE, whatever you want to call it, had like Sergeant Slaughter as main characters. So it was a different time, I guess. Stevie76 says bet on the weather forecast. Yeah, see that's the kind of thing that I would want to bet on. Like, is it going to rain? Like a bet now. Like you go place your bet now. Is it going to rain on Patriots Day 2022? I feel like Yuki Kawauchi is running, so odds are I would bet yes on that one. So, that's the kind of thing that I think is kind of fun. I would like to take that bet. Sean wants to know if my dad ever drug me to the Meadowlands. I went to I never saw a football game at the Meadowlands, but I went to Brendan Byrne Arena where the Devils played. I think it changed several names several times since then. I don't, but like, yeah, I think I went to like one or two. I don't know if I saw the Nets play ever, but I saw the Devils play over in the Meadowlands. Yeah, I still don't really understand how like they do that where it's like both the New York Jets and the New York Giants played in the Meadowlands, which was in New Jersey. I never understood that. Well, I mean, I guess it's like the San Francisco Giants playing, what is it, San Jose or something like that? Palo Alto? I don't know. It's not in San Francisco. Yeah. Sean Down says, this would be, I mean, I think this works. Like in horse racing, you bet on the horse who poops right before the race. Not sure about the running version of that. It's a direct port. It's a direct port. You have to figure out, you got to figure out who pooped right before the race or not. I don't know how we monitor that or what, but like, I mean, maybe you just self-identify. I don't know, you can like kind of like give a special, like a hand signal to the crowd as you're doing your parade walk. Like, yep, I hit the porta potty first. So, yeah. Frank says, Kirin racing in Japan is probably the closest thing to dog/horse racing with humans. I don't know what that is. I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, Adam says, isn't sport betting widespread in Europe? Everything from Premier League to tennis. I think it is over there. Which may be why, like, on Tracksted, they're a little bit more comfortable, like, talking about it. But, I feel like I've heard, like Chris Chavez and I don't know, some of his friends, I forget their names, that have been on some of, like, the Trials and Miles track, broadcasts. I don't think they talked about it during the Trials and Miles broadcast, but I think that I've heard them talk and discuss, like, if sports betting were allowed in track and field. I feel like if it were, it would cause an instant proliferation in sports betting podcasting on track and field, like road racing and stuff like that as well. So that, I mean, like, not that that's like a reason to do it, but I also think that where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. I saw something outside. It distracted me. I'll get it ever. Anyway. Sean Marshall wants to know what's the over-under on today's live stream numbers. We're at 52 concurrent viewers right now. I think now it's 50. 2 people just left. They don't like the betting talk, I guess. But yeah, I think that we're going to end somewhere around the 51-minute mark, and I think we've already peaked in terms of number of concurrent viewers. So that's kind of where I'll put the over-under. Cody Davis says, like, I think track and field needs more athletes like Usain Bolt. Not sure what to do about longer distances, maybe a points race or some type of scratch race over 5K. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about the other day. Like, I think team sports or series makes more sense. Something where you're running maybe a shorter distance, but multiple times. So I think, like, if you think about track and field, it emphasizes just like either the person who can run the longest distance the fastest, like a marathon, or the shortest distance the fastest, like the 100 meters. And to simplify it, it's whoever can run the fastest one time. Now, I know for the 100, for many of the track races, you have to run many heats to get to the final. But the ultimate idea is that you're running the one race once. But I think that like I mean, looking at things like Super League and triathlon, is that what they call it? Super League, right? Super League triathlon, where it's like you're doing multiple rounds of swim, bike, run. You're doing it like every week. I think that like um, maybe there's some way to have the sport where I don't know how you would do it, but like something in between a 100-meter final and watching someone do a workout of like 16 times 400-meter reps on the track. Like somewhere in there, there's something that's a little bit more spectator friendly, you know? So I just don't know what that is, but I think you were kind of talking about the same thing, Cody. Mm. Adam says things like betting and fantasy get in the way for me. I don't do them. I'd rather root for who I want to win as a fan than who I bet it on. That's what I wanted to say before I lost my train of thought. Is like, I think I would prefer to have fantasy something sort of team sports in track and field and road running and road racing rather than betting. But I feel like the two kind of go hand in hand. I don't think you could really have one without the other. But like, I think it would make it more interesting to have. I mean, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you'd cobble together fantasy sports for track and field, given that like there isn't like a league. There isn't even one like major. I mean, there's Diamond League is like I think getting to that point, but like how do you have like track and field lacks the repetitiveness that other spectator sports have. Like tennis players play multiple matches throughout the year. Um, Baseball has 160 something games a year. Football has 17 weeks of regular season. You know, basketball has I don't remember how many games in a season of basketball, but there's repetition, and even within those games, it's not like the game isn't like can someone make one 3-pointer? They have one shot at it. There's a back and forth. So there's room for drama to build that way. So like that kind of repetition also makes the sport interesting, but also allows for fantasy sports kind of numbers to get compiled. I don't know how you would do that for running, but I would love to see that. I think would get me a lot more interested in like some of the smaller races that people may not otherwise pay attention to. Um, I also think that just simply having video available of those races would also get me really interested in too. So like I'm sure if I really looked for it and wanted to pay for it, I could see like a video replay of the cross country championships that were recently held for the US. But I haven't like it's not like just popping up in my feed in YouTube, So I don't know. I think that that's also a really big area of need. And I guess I really need to put my money where my mouth is what I need to say, but you know but I also feel like, like where track and field is at, like, there's this weird tension that I hear in a lot of conversations that are like this, where people will say, like, well, like, you got to pay for it. People right now need to pay for it so that way it can gather enough financial support so that way it can start getting bigger and bigger. And the other end of it, and kind of the end that I'm at on it is, well, some of these other like kind of vested interests that are already putting on these events need to make it easier to watch so that you build the audience and then the money kind of follows, right? The money doesn't build the audience builds the money is kind of how I think of it. So I don't know. That's my rant today. We don't have to keep talking about that if you guys want to, but just thought that, yeah. Jeff Elliott says, yeah, that Chavez Gladwell thing with Molly's sister Izzy was great. Yeah, I also think that like, I think right now I forget what book the book was called, but it kind of went over kind of the evolution or the growth of both tennis and golf as from like clubhouse and like country club sports to professional sports. One of the things that book talked about was, each sport had spectacles, stars, people that individuals that people were willing to like go and pay to see. and doing these kind of like one-off events before there was like a formal kind of league and series. And I feel like stuff like that is great for the sport, I think. Yeah, and Izzy won. And the post-race interview was by Allie on the Run. So I was like, yeah, I was like all sorts of different parts of my social media running experience were in the same frame. There was Chris Chavez, Malcolm Gladwell, which I just think is amazing. Um, and I love the fact that he's a runner. And then Izzy Seidel, and then Allie on the Run, all in all in the same frame at the same time. It was just really crazy. Will Gravel says he's not planning on doing a spring marathon this year, not for any COVID reasons, but I'm feeling burnt out on the marathon after many consecutive training blocks. Going to do track this spring instead. I think that's a great idea. And I think that what we're going to see is like the marathon is proliferating really big. And I think people like Molly Seidel are certainly helping it. Sarah Hall are certainly helping it. Des, Shalane, like they're making the marathon huge. But, frankly, the marathon can be for everyone, but doesn't have to be for everyone. Right. So like I would love to see if more half marathons became more standalone events and not like the other shorter distance you can do if you don't want to run the full. And I would love to see more people do track meets as well, because I just think that's fun. I'd like to see track meets get, more popular, kind of like how 5Ks are really popular, But that's cool. Yeah, Mark says like, there'd have to be some sort of marathon league if we're going to do fantasy sports. And a lot of top runners would have to commit to a whole season. It'd be grueling. Yeah, but I think that like, you take those marathoners and instead make them run like every 2 weeks, run a 10K. Now it's not going to be the fastest 10K ever, but it's not about running just the fastest 10K. It's about being able to run the fastest 10K over the season, right? So kind of just like in professional sports, well, not that running isn't a professional sport, but in some of the bigger spectator sports, like professional football, for example, it's not always about like who can just win once. You got to make it through the full regular season, and it's grueling, and there's injuries, and there's different weather that you have to deal with, and travel, and there's a lot there, and then you have to make it through a playoff. So that's like you not only have to be good, you have to be good consistently. So like, I think that would be something like, take the best marathoners and make them run 10Ks. Seems weird, but but they're also doing it like in a traveling fashion every 2 weeks. I don't know. Does that get boring after a while? Maybe. I don't know. But if it's in different cities and yeah, I don't know. All right. Sean Marshall says, Mike, thanks for the recommendation on tights. My Rabbit tights with the Z and the Rebel version 2 are on their way right now. I hope you enjoy. I do really like the Rabbit tights. I don't know. Like I don't need, like I have a lot of tights, so I don't need to pick up 2, but that's one where I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll get another one. Because like one, I like stuff I have a lot of stuff that is like shoe branded, like Asics tights that are also really good, but I prefer stuff that's like from brands that don't also make shoes, because that just makes it easier for me when I run and trying to make a shoe video. So it's not a rule. No one has ever told me that I shouldn't, mix and match, but I just kind of think it's easier for me if I do it that way. And the Rabbit ones are perfect. Good amount of pockets, extra warm. Yeah. Cody Evans wants to know if I shave my legs before a race. That could be a prop bet too. Like, someone going to shave their legs. But no, I don't. I don't think I've ever shaved my legs. I didn't shave my legs before I swam my triathlon. But, whether I shaved my legs or not, that wasn't going to make a big difference because I'm a terrible swimmer. But no, I have not shaved my legs before a race. I was watching today, is I was watching, for some reason, it's popped up on my YouTube feed. Oh, it's because I was looking at all these Mo Farah videos. Because for today's video, I kind of referenced the Mo Farah Pegasus. And so I was watching that, and then YouTube started feeding me more Mo Farah videos. And one was the NBC Sports replay of the 10,000 meters at the London Olympics 2012. it's weird to me that the London Olympics were 10 years ago. It's just really bizarre. But Mo Farah won. Galen came in second, and Kenenisa Bekele's younger brother, I think it was his brother, came in third. I think Bekele was in it. I think he came in fourth or maybe fifth. The final kick on the last, like, basically 500 meters of that race, it was absolutely mind-blowing, unbelievable. But then it made me think, they were talking about how Bekele is 30 in the 2012 Olympics. Is he 40 now? Is he really? Like, I didn't think about that. I knew he was, like, not the youngest marathoner anymore, but I didn't realize he was 40. Not that that's old. I'm older than that, but for someone that were like, oh, he might be able to still break the world record, it seems like it might be a little old. But I guess the definition of old, especially in endurance sport, is certainly changing right now. So Cody Davis says, can we change the name of the half marathon? Like, oh, you only did a half? No, I ran 13.1 miles. I've been saying this for years, and I do like the way that they do it in Europe, where it's like you either ran the 42 or you ran the 21. So like that I like. I do like the way they handle it in triathlon, where you can do like a 70.3 Ironman or the 140. I think they just call it Ironman. I think you run, I don't know what. Yeah. But anyway, I guess they still do call it a half Ironman, but they can also call it 70.3. So I like that. So I do think that it needs to be called something different than half marathon, because I don't like that name either. But I mean, especially because that's my favorite distance to race. So yeah, but like to say like, oh yeah, I mean, not that I care. I don't get like a special kind of pride from saying I run marathons. I like them. And it's an elusive race. It's hard to master. But I also really enjoy racing half marathons, mainly because I think you can do them more frequently. Jeff Elliott thinks that we could do a race of a 10 by 10K, and the winner has the lowest combined time. If you are hurt, you get 1 hour instead. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about like, how do you account, like in cross country racing, they do lowest score wins. Like, so if you come in first, that's a 1. If you come in like 30th, that's 30. And your lowest team score wins of your like top 6. But I'm like, what if people don't show up for that race, then what do we give them? Like a 100, a penalty? But I think that instead you should just get like, it should be like Mario Kart, where first place gets 10, second place gets like 6 or 8 points, third all through like 6th, and then you add up and highest score wins at the end. So I feel like that's how it goes. And if you get hurt, then you get a 0, or a DNF, that's a 0, So I think that there's ways to do this series. Yeah, I mean, like some of them could be like on cross country courses. Some of them could be on flat fast. Some of it could be on a track. I just think there's different ways to do it to make it really interesting, I think. Even if it'd be like, what are we just going to do? Have these like a traveling circus of 10Ks? Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. So I don't know. Martha wants to know about those rabbit tights. Do I have only the winter version or the regular ones as well? I have regular ones that are half tights, which they're not on the website right now, so because I think they're sold out. So I have the half tights that are just regular, like half tights, and then I have the fleece full length tight. So that's what I have. All right, Chris Lake is back in from the jog, so now he can type. And he says, how about something about point system for runners? Have a circuit of events and the top points runner end of season face off for a final. Oh, face off for a final event. I like that. I mean, this already exists in there's like a world. I don't know if it's an Abbott. I think Abbott does it. And so like you take points for over like a 2-year period, and then there's just extra prize money for the winner of that. And I feel like, and I think Eliud Kipchoge has won it like multiple times in a row, which makes sense. But I think that like if there were a way to do that, I think that the way that I would love to see this implemented is on something that's on a little bit of a less grand scale than the world majors, because people are already paying attention to the world majors. Like something that I would love to see. I mean, I've been kind of like thinking about this idea for a long time, but it'd really be up to just the race organizers to see if it's in their best interest to do it. But if there was like a US majors or like a European majors, I mean, you probably have to call it something other than majors, but um, like in the US, I would love to see like LA Marathon, Houston, CIM, Grandma's, and like one other, Indianapolis. I think that would be really good. Probably also need one on the East Coast. Boston and New York are out because they already have a world major, but I don't know. I could be convinced like maybe Marine Corps would be a good one because a lot of people do that one. That one's usually pretty big. Or maybe Philadelphia to get something else on the East Coast, and then like have a series, a score on the top 6, on those top 6 like marathons. So yeah. Adam says like track has the Diamond League, and the meets are once or twice a week, almost all in Europe. Points towards season finals. Big bonus if you go undefeated. I watched a lot of Diamond League in the year, I think like 2019 and then 2020. It was on NBC Sports a lot, so I wouldn't watch them live, but I'd get the replays. And I enjoy Diamond League, and I wish that there was Diamond League here in the US. I think there was a Diamond League meet in the US, but it wasn't anywhere near me. I'm trying to think when that was, but yeah. Yeah. And it says about like the naming of marathons. The longer the race, the better the name. 5K, 10K, half marathon. Those are all not great names. And then marathon, there you go. And then getting there, and an ultra marathon, you can't get better than that. Yeah. You know what I think is like, it's interesting. I think that in the ultra marathon space, people are struggling to find a way to like distinguish between like, kind of ultra marathons, like the 50K and the 50 mile, and then like the 100 mile, 200 mile, 250 and up, yeah. So I think there's always already a difficult time distinguishing between like ultra races and trail ultra, and then trail races that are not ultras. So but like, I don't think that's hugely important in terms of the distinction, because like I think still those groups are pretty small, but it may help some people to get into more trail races if they didn't think that they were all like 20-hour ordeals. So yeah. Adam says Bekele turns 40 in June. Yeah. So I guess I'll still be 39 when he lines up for Boston this year. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Adam says the pre-invitational is part of the Diamond League. Oh, okay. So it was in Eugene. That's why I didn't think that I could go. All right. Yeah, I do like watching Diamond League. I think the hard thing, and then on Trexta, the podcast that I listened to today, they complained about it too, is that Diamond League doesn't do a great job of kind of like the backstory. Like when you watch like the Olympics, there's like the backstory on all the local athletes, so that like before the race, you kind of know who to cheer for and have like a sentimental reason to cheer for them. And they were saying like the Diamond League doesn't do anything like that, which I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of is just the races. So, but I mean, like I don't need that for every single race in an event. I do appreciate having it for the Olympics, for like, because there's some sports where I'm just like, I don't usually watch gymnastics. I don't usually watch fencing. So some context would be nice, so there's something like that. Yeah, Sean Marshall says like, this is official call for HBO documentary of a shoe company running teams in a marathon block in Flagstaff. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's room for that. And I think that's where traditional media like HBO or Netflix, people have said like, we need like the Netflix style documentary that they did for F1, but we need it for track. People have been talking about that. And I'm like, people are thinking too small. We need to scale up. People are thinking like, we want to be BlackBerry and be control of our app ecosystem, and we'll make all the apps. When people need to think more like Apple and just make a really big app ecosystem and let it explode and let everyone else do it. And so like, I think we're starting to get there in terms of like more teams are allowing more kind of like YouTubers and other videographers just come and film a regular day. It doesn't have to be like a complete hammering, like this is my last big workout before a race. just letting us just get more looks um, into what their teams are doing, and I think that generates a lot of interest. And that in and of itself, more organically and less kind of like in a less cheesy way, frankly, than like the 90-second like you know hero story that they tend to put on like before the Olympics. As much as I like those, sometimes I'm like, I when I actually know who the athletes are, it's much more meaningful. So yeah. So I'm like, it makes me think like, well, maybe I should make more of an effort to try and do that kind of um spotlighting. I feel like Sweat Elite's doing a great job. There's a lot of other um groups that are doing really good jobs too. Like I like what Tin Man is doing. Um I like what NAZ Elite is doing. The Boss Hard group also has videos and stuff. So I think that's coming. Um, but of course I want more. I'd like to see more of all that, you know. All right. Uh, Cody Davis says, I watch curling because it's a sport that reminds me of dads just hanging out. One of my buddies, he used to live here in Chicago with us, and then he moved up with his wife up to Minneapolis. That's where he's from, and he has a lot of buddies up there, and together they're on a curling team. And I'm like, "Is your curling league basically exactly like what I think it is?" And he's like, "Yeah, it is. It's awesome." And I'm like, "That's so cool." And I'm like, kind of wish I was in a curling league as well. He's like, "Well, come up to Minneapolis. There's a bunch of them." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." They also do meat raffles, which I think is amazing. He's a big fan of the meat raffle. I don't eat meat anymore, but I would like to participate in one, I guess. Um, so yeah, curling is a fun sport. I mean, other than the Olympics though, do you watch it? I don't know. All right. I think that's going to be a good place to leave it for today, guys. We are at 57 concurrent viewers now, so we're over my prediction, and we're at 52 minutes. So we went over on both counts. So whoever took the over, you win, no prizes or anything like that, and you just get the W for the day. All right. Well, that was a well-placed bet. All right. Tomorrow, I don't know what the video is going to be like tomorrow. We'll see if we get one in. Um, and then, Monday is a holiday in the United States. So my kids will be at home. So we probably will not have a live stream Monday. We'll do another the next live stream will be Tuesday. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Hope you guys have a really great weekend of running out there. And until I see you again, be safe out there. Thanks.